Hey, what's up guys and gals? So welcome to the Astrology channel, and in this particular video we'll be dealing with the 12th house astrology part 3. And as I told you in the 12th house part 2 video, that we in the next episode would be dealing with some of the planetary placements that can make a person a porn star, or that can make a person have an association with the porn star industry in some way or the other. So in this particular video, I'll be talking about that certain planetary placements that can be seen in the charts of the porn stars, or these are the planetary placements that can make an individual to go into the porn industry or be associated with the porn industry in some form or the other. So he could necessarily, anybody having that combination, those planetary combination that I'm going to talk of, need not necessarily be an actor who is going nude on the sets of the pornographic film. He could be a cameraman associated with the pornographic industry. He could be a director associated with the pornographic industry. He could be the actor or even a light boy associated with the pornographic industry. And one more thing, many of you might be having those similar planetary combinations that I may tell you, and you might be of the fact that I have that similar planetary combination, yet I am not associated with the pornographic industry as this stupid child is teaching over here. Well, those planetary indications doesn't necessarily mean that you will go into the pornographic industry, but these are the short if you have those planetary combinations that I'll tell you, those planetary combinations are a short indication that anybody having those planetary combinations would have an unrestrained sexual life. The person having those planetary combinations would be inclined to have the sexual alliances with the n number of individuals, with the unlimited number of individuals. And these planetary combinations that I'm going to talk about today, they infuse such an energy into the individual that these individuals are kind of bizarre, kind of eccentric when it comes to expressing their sexuality. They express their sexuality in a way that you find it very pragmatic and very difficult to decipher as to why this person is so kinky in character, or why this person is a sex maniac. Now, you must have occasionally come across people who go nude on the streets while they're doing the protests against anything, or some of the people who go nude for the fashion magazines, or some of the people who go nude for the pornographic film itself. It could be anything. While it might be okay for them, some of you are actually perturbed to know that what exactly made this person go into the pornographic industry, or being associated with the defamed profession. What actually made that person to go into such a defamed profession? So guys, before I reveal those planetary combinations, I want to tell you about the certain planetary placements regarding the 12th house. Well, first of all, we'll study what Venus does in the 12th house. Well, what is Venus? Venus is a planet of love making. Venus is the planet of that controls the love affairs in our life. And Venus is the original controller, is the original owner of the second house of the horoscope, which has the energy of Taurus. And as I told you in the second house video, that those Taurus people, or those Venus dominant people, are all about the wealth management. They are the people who meticulously and scrupulously design that action plan or that budget, and they are so meticulous. They are so meticulous and kind of obsessed that they finicky make sure that they are so finicky that they keep track of every single penny that goes out of their pocket. And no matter what the situation is like, whether the market prices of the daily of the products of daily use are on a high, or the market is on a downside, or anything of that sort, they make sure that they stick to the budget and do not spend even a penny extra than their designated expenditure budget, so that their savings are assured. So this is the planet Venus. This is the energy that is associated with the planet Venus. Now this planet Venus comes into the 12th house, which is the house of losses, expenditure, which is the house of which is the house of jails, asylums, charitable deeds, and which is the house of the hidden sexual pleasures. So here Venus kind of who had the knack and aptitude to save the wealth. Now he kind of becomes totally different, and he becomes a spendthrift in the 12th house, house of expenditure. And this is particularly true with Venus in 12th house, that these people become kind of very obsessed, buyers, and they literally want to throw away their money. These individuals might be earning $1 million a month, but they might not have anything at the end of the month left with them. Such is the energy that these Venus in the 12th house people have, because in the 12th house these people are these people have the unending urge of indulging in the extravagances and living the life in a very flamboyant, in a very lavish, and in a very grand manner. So Venus here could resort to an obsession of any kind, which involves giving away the money. So Venus here could be obsessed with any of the drugs, any of the drugs like cannabis, marijuana, cigarettes, or any drug that induces the temporary or the permanent insensibility that gives us the kick. Because these are the drugs, whenever we take them, they take us away from the reality. And 12th house is the house where we are moving away from the reality, and Venus is the planet that controls the drugs, all these drugs that give you a kick. So this is Venus' way of spending in the money to escape the reality. Or in Venus could be obsessed with any of the things related to Venus. For example, Venus could be obsessed with buying the clothes, jewelry, buying the luxury cars, and the things like that. And another obsession I have seen is that the people in the Venus in the 12th house are kind of obsessed with some kind of a body part. So you might have occasionally come across people who kind of have an urge to go to the doctors for the surgical procedures, and this is their way of throwing away the money. But if you were to ask those individuals, they are going for those surgical procedures because they want to look beautiful, and beauty is associated with the planet Venus. So it could be an obsession with any of the body parts. And since 12th house is a house of sexual pleasures, here Venus, which is the planet of materialistic pursuits, can even become a kind of a sex maniac, or somebody who throws in the money in any kind of a sexual activity. So you can, person with the Venus in the 12th house, these people could be are kind of inclined towards living a lifestyle that normal people would not comply to. So such a Venus person could be associated with the porn industry. Such a person could be inclined towards having the sexual alliances with n number of people, and or such a person may have a totally different viewpoint on how that sexuality of an individual should be expressed. But is that for sure that Venus in the 12th house is gonna bring in these energies in your life? No, because if the Lord of the 12th house is placed in any of the Kendra houses or in the Trikona houses, or if Venus is receiving aspects of Jupiter, then those tendencies to indulge in the extravagances and the luxuries of life, or to throw away the money in any kind of sexual acts, can be curbed down. And similar is the thing which happens with the planet Mars when it comes into the 12th house. In fact, it is a more stronger indication of somebody who might be sexually unrestrained, sexually uncurbed, because Mars is a planet of action, agility, aggression. Mars is a planet which does well in the 1st house, in the 3rd house, in the 6th house, in the 7th house, in the 10th house, in the 11th house. And these are the houses wherein you are working on a very realistic plane. So Mars is the planet which is kind of a taskmaster. Mars is that never say die character who is good at accomplishing the tasks. Mars doesn't have a head of its own. Mars is like he's that soldier who cannot think like a mathematician or a scientist might be thinking. those are those prudency in the discretionary skills or the knack and aptitude of taking the decisions is with Jupiter, Venus, or Mercury. But here Mars, kind of a headless planet, if comes into the 12th house, he doesn't find an outlet for his energy. While in the other houses, he was kind of he had work to do, which gave him an outlet for the bountiful energy that was there in that planet Mars. But here 12th house is a very soft house. It's the house of the subconscious mind. It's the house of the hidden sexual pleasures. It's the house of serving the peoples in the hospitals, jails, asylums. So Mars here doesn't get an outlet for his energy, because Mars is not prone to taking care of the people in the ashrams, in the asylums, in the hospitals, because that is the work of Moon, Venus, who are the soft planets, who are inclined towards doing the charitable deeds. Mars might be associated with those charitable work, but again, it has to be in some kind of a Cancerian or some kind of a Venus-like sign in order to bring in that kind of tendencies in Mars. But Mars here doesn't get an outlet for his energy. So the only outlet of energy for Mars in the 12th house is through is letting out that energy through these sexual acts, through the sexual pleasures. So Mars in the 12th house can also make a person very kinky in character, very salacious, very sexual, kind of a sex maniac in character. And the other thing that that can accentuate, now Venus and Mars, we all know that these are the planets that can make a person go into the porn industry, or that can make a person express their sexuality in a way that might be bizarre for the other individuals. But the effect of these two planets is kind of heightened, is kind of accentuated if they are receiving the aspects, or they are sitting with, if they are receiving the aspects, or they are sitting with any of the nodes, that is Ketu and Rahu. Because Ketu and Rahu are all about breaking the established norms of the society. These are the kind of foreign planets, especially Rahu. These are all about breaking the religious dogmas, breaking the set of rules, and they bring in their own energies, which is kind of very difficult to deal with. And they express their Rahu and Ketu when they aspect the Venus or the Mars. They kind of increase the desire of Venus or Mars to go into that porn industry, or to have that sexual alliances with the n number of people. So guys, now I have told you the certain combinations. Now I'll authenticate that I have told you why they lead to such and such profession. Now I'll authenticate it by showing you the chart of Madonna and Kim Kardashian. Now these two are not porn stars, but they are kind of very different when it comes to expressing their sexuality. Especially Madonna is like kind of very popular for her own bizarre eccentric ways. I mean, I don't want to annoy the fans of Kim Kardashian or Madonna. Neither I want to disparage or malign the image of the two stars. But here I just show you their charts in order to validate what all I just told you. So let's just bring in their charts, you morons. So guys, here are we with the charts of the kinky Madonna and Kim Kardashians. Okay guys, on a serious note, let's take a look at why Madonna is kind of very bizarre when it comes to her sexual expressions. Well, first of all, see here. She has Venus in the 12th house, placed with Sun. So Sun is a planet that is also associated with the glamour industry. So her way of she kind of expresses her sexual ways in a very glamorous kind of a manner. And Sun in the 12th house can actually also show a person who actually is criticized or has troubles from the people who are at the higher post in the society. And Madonna, as known to all, has been criticized or has been reprimanded for many of her kinky gestures. She has been belittled for for many of her kinky acts, and that is why, because that's because it's placed with Sun in the 12th house. And the other reason why she behaves that way is because, let us look at Mars. And I told you in that episode, in that aspects episode, that Mars has the first aspect, the fourth aspect, the seventh aspect, and that eighth aspect. So let's count 4 places from Mars, and let's see where does Mars throw its aspect. So Mars is 1, 2, 3, 4. So Mars placed in the 9th house is throwing its aspect on Venus, and Mars is placed with Ketu, which is further kind of ruining, which is further kind of making Mars more bizarre when it comes to having a head. So Mars is already a headless planet, and it is kind of placed with Ketu, which is headless too. So these Ketu in Vedic astrology is kind of a shadow planet of Mars. So these two planets, who cannot think in a very discreet and in a very intelligent manner, are aspecting Venus with its 4th aspect. So this is one reason why Madonna reacts the way she does. And the other reason, let us look at where else Ketu is throwing its aspect. And Ketu has the 1st aspect, the 5th aspect, the 7th aspect, and the 9th aspect in the Vedic astrology. So counting 5 places from Ketu, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Ketu here is throwing its aspect on Moon. So what is Moon? Moon is the way we think. And so Ketu aspecting the Moon shows a person who kind of is not able to see the reality. So he sees the reality through a curtain in front of his eyes, or through a smoke, or through an illusion. So Madonna is like, I don't give a damn about what the about what the world thinks of me. This is the way I live my life. This is my life, and who are you? You know, the fucking idiots to comment on my life. I live it the way I want to. So, and Ketu is like Ketu is a planet which is kind of unconcerned. Ketu is a planet wheresoever in the chart is he placed, it represents the things that we have already conquered in the last life. So we are unconcerned about them in the present life. So here Madonna is like is not at all concerned about what the people, especially of her homeland, are thinking of her. So and the other reason why Madonna does this is because of the fact that her Mercury here is retrograde. Her Mercury placed in the 1st house is retrograde. And what is Mercury? Mercury is the planet of communications. So whether it could be the communication through writing, or communication through the bodily gestures, or communication through speaking, it is all controlled by Mercury. And here the Mercury is retrograde and in the 1st house. So it is becoming a dominant part of our personality. And whenever Mercury is retrograde, it kind of makes your it kind of hampers your communication skills. So either you are very rough in your manner, in the way you speak, or you speak in a peculiar or idiosyncratic manner that might annoy the individuals you are talking to, or you might not be able to express your thoughts in a very clear and transparent manner, or while even if you are conveying your thoughts in a right manner, you might people might jumble up your speech, make a garbled account of your speech, and present it in a way which ridicules the listeners towards you. So here the way of communication is kind of also very bizarre in nature. And one other thing, although this is a very interesting chart, Madonna, especially for you lovers, I'm telling, I'll not go into the depth of it, but she might have a very hard time in her childhood, that's for sure. And her relationship when it comes to her parents badly suffers, because see, Saturn retrograde is placed in the 4th house, and that in the sign of Scorpio, and her moon, which represents her house, motherly figure, homeland, is also receiving the aspect of Ketu. So it's kind of indicates her very troublesome childhood, or she has very kind of a very ruined relationship with her mother or parents. And let's look at the chart of Kim Kardashian. Here, like I told you, see, she has Mars in her 12th house. And then what else? She has Ketu placed in her second house. And like I just told you that wheresoever Ketu is placed in the chart, it shows that you are not at all concerned about those things wheresoever Ketu is placed, because you have already accomplished those things. You have already mastered those things in the past life, and so you are no longer concerned about those things in the present life. So Ketu is placed in the second house, which is all about rationality, which is all about the right side of the brain taking the rational decisions by taking into account that what are going to be the repercussions of the actions that we are indulging into. So she's unconcerned about all that. And at the time when she filmed her tape, when she filmed her having sex with her boyfriend, she must have not given a thought that what could be the repercussions of the same. And then one more thing. Here, if you see, she has Rahu here in the 8th house. 8th house Rahu is also an indicative of somebody who is sexually very active, somebody who is prone to having the sexual alliances with n number of people. And Rahu here is even affecting Moon with its 9th aspect, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So Rahu is kind of again Rahu is kind of aspecting her Moon and make her think in a very foreign manner, make her mind think and express itself in a very foreign manner. And why she has a lot of foreign boyfriends, that is the boyfriends or the partners who are from a different caste, creed or color, because she has Venus in the 9th house. And Venus in the 9th house can make you have a partner or have a wife or a husband who comes from a foreign nation, or who comes from a culture or a caste, creed or color which is quite different to that of yours. So guys, can you see how I have validated the stuff I taught you with the charts? And this is how miraculous the science of astrology is. It's not if you are aware with the subtle nuances and with the intricacies of Vedic astrology, you can predict everything and anything about a person's life with a high degree of accuracy. People call it a scandalous science or a defamed science, obviously, because they are not to be blamed, because those astrology pundits or whosoever, most of the astrologers who are teaching or giving an advice to other people, they are primarily giving an advice because they want to make money, not because they want to educate the people about this really miraculous science that the God so willingly has bestowed onto us for the betterment of the mankind. So guys, this was all from my side. In case you feel that I have enlightened you about the miraculous science of astrology, or if you feel that I am doing some kind of a job that you like, or if you like me for one reason or the other, then please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and this will keep you updated with the regular feeds and would let you inform whenever I upload the video next. So till then, this is your host Sugar signing off. Take care, goodbye, have fun.